Hey guys, what is up? Most of you may know this project of mine which I would like to call Iron Man's heart monitor. As you can see, this is pretty identical to the chest piece of Tony Stark from the movies. And if you know, in very first Iron Man movie from 2008, he actually integrated the arc reactor, which acted as an electromagnet into his body. But I didn't really want to integrate anything to my own body, so I ordered this, which is an LED ring from Adafruit. It's a NeoPixel LED ring. It is an RGB one, and the best thing you can get from this is that this has its own driver. So there is no need to be worried about having an LED driver circuit to your whole circuitry. And that's a plus. And when I got this, I didn't really want this to be a prop. Actually, a prop is good, but if I want to carry this on a shirt and tolerate the heat it generates, because it generates heat, and the whole body of it acts like some sort of cooler. I guess I have to put a metal sheet behind this to act as a heat sink and distribute the heat over my body in terms of cooling the whole system. If I told myself, if I'm going to carry this and tolerate the amount of heat it generates to my body, at least let's find a use for this. First, I was thinking of having ultrasonic sensors and develop some sort of bat or spider sense, but I just kept it for another project. On this project, I actually decided to use this as a monitor for my heart. Actually, the heart rate and the amount of oxygen of my body, my blood actually, is measured through this sensor, and let's see. Okay, sometimes it has a delay, and it measured the oxygen in my blood and get into the original Iron Man bluish color. Actually, Iron Man's arc reactor had this color. This is the first problem I have with this thing, is that it's now just limited to this circuit. This circuit is too big to be integrated in a shirt or a hoodie or something. And I really prefer to have this sensor, which is a max 3100 sensor, and this is pretty much the same sensor, but this one is actually labeled as the painful one over the internet. This one is actually the painless one and the good one. And for the record, this thing was a bit, for example, $1 or $2 more expensive than this one. But it was worth it to get this one instead of this. The reason is this one can work pretty well when you do the wiring right and upload the right code. And I will show you the code in a minute. So don't worry about the code and stuff. But I really prefer to have it as a Wi-Fi pulse oximeter in this size. Okay, this is actually around 10 centimeters. Battery operated device, and wire another ESP module or Wi-Fi module to this thing, and when you just measure your blood oxygen levels, the first device sends it to the second device. Mostly like Tony Stark's blood toxicity monitor in Iron Man 2. So I talked a lot. Let's go ahead and see the code. Very well, this is the code. As you can see, I have the wire, Adafruit NeoPixel, and the heart monitor sensor libraries included in my code. I have a reporting period, milliseconds, and this is the interruption between each times that your oximeter sensor sends data from the sensor to the board. You actually can decrease this thing. If I got it right, it works with I2C protocol. So there is some request from the board, from the microcontroller. In my case, it is an Arduino Uno revision 3. I don't know, there might be a new revision to that, but I don't care because I'm happy with my own microcontrollers. We have the pin 5, which is for my LED strip or LED ring. As you can see, most of the comments for me show that I copied and pasted a lot of this code. And this is how programming usually works, you know. Although I'm a programmer, I prefer to just get the good code from better programmers and tune that to my needs. And this is pretty much what I did. In the setup function, by the way, I easily turned off the LED strip and then turned it on with that initial color. The initial color of mine, as you can see, is very similar to a white color to eye at first when you see that. But after you pay a little bit more attention, you find its reddish tone. And this is because of the color code I put here. It follows the RGB color coding and uses PWM, so this is why the pin is pin 5. If you want to just work with this, no matter what type of boards you have, you should choose an analog pin or a pin that has PWM or pulse width modulation. Otherwise, it won't work very well. Then I actually turned it on with the speed. I initialized the pulse oximeter. As you can see, the pulse oximeter has its own variable here. And if pulse oximeter started working, it prints success into the serial monitor. And then we have something going on, which is actually a callback or something. And again, I really did not care about this thing. Actually, as you can see, this thing sets some sort of current to its laser sensor, or I should say infrared. It's not laser. If you say laser, people will go, wow, okay, it's infrared, it's not laser. Basically, they use the very same idea, but I really prefer to say infrared here. Some current to that infrared sensor, and then a callback, and the callback is actually saying bit. When there is a callback, an answer or acknowledgement from the sensor, then it prints it. But here, when there is a success here, I say set the color to that bluish tone you have seen. If the oxygen level is between 90 and 94, it actually adds a little bit more reddish tone to that tone, but for some reason it does not work. I don't know why. I may know why, because my oxygen levels are mostly above 94. So where you can use this project, I personally love to use this project as a prop, as some sort of smart shirt to show off how good I am at programming and making smart handicrafts. But the other side of this project is With this pandemic going on and new variants of virus every day found in different countries, and the amount of people killed by this disease in my country, Iran, I guess it can be a cheap and accessible tool and understandable tool to measure the blood oxygen levels for most of people who dealt with COVID-19 and post-COVID symptoms. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you make it and make it a product if you want, or make it to prove that there are more than one Tony Stark in the world. Until the next video, I see you.